All right, but I'll go ahead and get started. I know we're 7 minutes out. And again, worst case scenario, if I get disconnected from portals, I'll still keep audio going in VC. So I'd recommend folks jumping over to VC. And once we're kind of wrapped up, then I would say it's kind of fair game for anyone to go and do as you
Okay.
please here.
Oh, you're here to do the VC tonight at 8. I
Yes,
forgot.
sir.
I thought you was just chilling with us. My bad.
Nah, I mean I'm chilling with you guys too, but it's all good.
No, but I'm excited. I'm not missing another one.
Were you here last week?
Yeah, that was the
Okay,
first one
man.
I ever made it to. And like I was like, dude, why have I been missing out on this for so long?
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, we'll go ahead and jump into it. So, as you guys can well see, we've got these 3D boxes that people are rocking and attempting to use in portals. I think this is going to be, I'll say, a slight growing pain within portals of figuring out like how to optimize with our characters and all that fun stuff. But I'm at least happy that
What's
we're
the intent of
at this stage, because it's been a while. It's definitely been a good bit
so
of
there's like play
resources.
bingo or like give out prizes and stuff?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna, yeah.
This is
If you
actually
guys,
my first one.
I was gonna say, yeah. If you guys don't mind muting, if you guys have questions, I'm more than happy to take questions. But more than happy to like BS too after we just run through. We just normally do like just the updates through the week, for folks, and then we'll touch on like missions a little bit, and then we'll kind of wrap up at the end with like a little bit of a chest giveaway. I think I'll do four this week. I think I did five or six last week, but um, and by all means, like open to questions, comments, feedback, and all that fun stuff as we kind of just walk through all the things. But yeah, 3D Foxes, pretty stoked. The way you can get it is through extras on your My Foxes page. So if you go there, it costs 10k Fox. You don't have to have anything else unlocked. Unlike Tails, if you want to get your tail, you have to have Tier 1 unlocked as well for the body, I should say, not just the head. Um, but they're pretty awesome. They are GLB files. Um, there's a couple of different versions of instructions because it's not like an official like build-in yet for portals. They're working with a few teams to kind of get something a bit more native for just logging into your wallet versus having to use a URL with a Fox name and all that fun stuff. But there is a free program too if you modify your Fox or get your Fox modified. Glitch.com. I actually did that because shout out to Brink for hooking up General Fox some. But yeah, you can mess around with that, and that's just for like using a different kind of avatar. So obviously with this one it'd be Fox's. But pretty stoked. We've already gotten some other folks with other metaverses and projects, especially um, Mayhem League. They have included at least myself and Dev in there already. They did a like some kind of machine gun thing as like a promo item for Foxes. They just did that because they didn't even ask us like if we cared or wanted it or any of that fun stuff. But I think it's pretty fun. I haven't played it yet. I'll be honest with you. I think I think it'd be fun to kind of mess around with, but just have to find a little bit of time to dedicate to it. But they did also ask for like all the attributes to be able to kind of mess around with things and see if they can get like Fox like just to generate in their platform. So I don't know when that'll take, but I think that'll be kind of a common ask for a few different metaverses, or at least having the option of importing either the file as is or getting from our server for folks that are connected in there and using those GLB files. So really it's a way of saying, we're working on getting more ways of having these boxes integrated, but by all means, you can do with the GLB files as you'd like to. They are your files, so as long as you own the Fox, really can do whatever you want with the files. We did also do a couple of quality life updates for. Um, we did one for the prizes through our chests. So we did add in a 2.5 million bonk with a 6.9% rate for every chest. So I think today or over the weekend, I think we gave out almost three and a half, 350 million, almost 400 million bonk to foxes. So that's pretty fun. And that's not bonk that they gave us to give out. Like their team, they did airdrops for individuals. That's bonk from us bringing in revenue through Flip as well as raffle. We just have some bonk to kind of mess around with, and we have been burning as well. So we've burnt. I want to say it's been almost 5 billion plus bonk, and really, it's not based off of their team asking us. It really is just like part of the ethos for like the general plan with Bonk that they want to do. It's just like having applications and things that create burns, but it's making like a use for the token. Very similar to what we've been enabling for a lot of SPL tokens through our platform, but just on a wider scale audience and tapping into a lot of other communities at the same time. So. Just want to throw that out there, but for folks that are opening chests, you can expect to see Bonk in there. That is real. It's 2.5 mil per. Um, that might get adjusted based off of the price action that happens with Bonk, or based off of how much we actually have. But we've at least mentioned that it will be like a limited time item. So definitely, I would recommend if folks are interested in trying to get Bonk, to take a crack at chests. I would say earlier rather than later, as I'm not sure how much we'll put in there, but just so that folks are aware.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
When do you guys plan on like fully removing bonk from the chest? Do you
Uh,
have or it's just kind of up in the air?
we don't have a plan for that yet. What I will say is I'll say um, if we figure out like how much more we plan to give away, we'll go ahead and like announce like, by the way, you've got a week left or what have you, before Bonk gets removed from chest. So like we'll give a little bit of a heads up. I think it's more so based off of like a date rather than like a total amount, especially based off of how our tools have been bringing Bonk in. So more so is just like, is there a certain point in time that we don't think that it makes sense to kind of continue on with Bonk as a prize. Although, what I will say for what it's worth, I mean, is that we've had, a lot of different prizes and things from other vendors, which have been pretty awesome. So it just depends on like what's relevant, what's still around, what makes sense, what people want. So as long as there's like a value to it and people still seem interested in it, I don't see why we wouldn't keep it for a little bit longer.
Certainly, thank you.
Of course, yeah, it's a fair question. Um, And then I think the next thing that makes the most sense to transition to is actually the update that we did for raffle specifically, but then we also added in, I would say, one of the things that I've been looking forward to for a while that we've been keeping kind of low key on the radar. People have asked for it like many, many times, and it was just like a little bit complicated to get all the things done, and then based off of people's timing and what have you. But we've added the ability for you to auction NFTs for SPL token and for different SPL tokens. You can set a reserve price. You basically have like full control over it. You could set the time limits for it. As a like promo for it, we put up two Foxes, a TFF that I think is in the top 150 of ranks, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And then we put an FFF up there that's rank 410, which is a beard fox. Um, but they are up for auction. So it's auctions for Foxy. I think since we've created ours and pushed this out, there have been, I think, almost a half dozen others that have created. But again, you can use SPL tokens. You can set a reserve price. You set like a target date to end it. The one nice thing too with our auction platform is the fact that you can just like add to your bids. It doesn't keep the SPL token that you've already bid, so that your next bid you have to have that much more. It's additive. So if I bid a 150K Foxy, someone bids 155, I can just make it 160, and it doesn't mean I need 310,000 Foxy. I can just have 160 Foxy to do that. I think that makes the most sense for auction platforms. I know some of them are one way, some of them are the other. That's how we're planning on doing it. Makes the most sense, and I think they should be pretty awesome to run. And then as far as the fee structure goes for it, very similar to Raffle. So we'll have 2.5% for holders, 5% for non-holders, and we are we have integrated notifications with Dialect, and we're working on getting those set up for raffles as well. We've been working kind of with the Dialect team to get more information around like that messaging platform. Initially for Boombox, I think that will be kind of a bigger piece that we do end up putting out in the Boombox as well. I think it will be very helpful, especially for artists to connect to their communities. But for this, just to kind of help get notifications for folks, that are doing raffles or auctions, especially trying to know or to get better information of like when a raffle's ending. I don't know if we're going to add in like specific conditions as to why like you will get pinged. If, for example, a raffle is currently below floor price based off of tickets, and there's like 15 minutes ending or something if you get a notification for it. I don't know if we have that level of ability yet for them, but I think it will be very helpful, and it'll let people know too, like your raffle had ended, and you can go and claim it, all that kind of fun stuff. Or someone like that you follow is posting a new raffle, so that way you can go in and check it out. I think these are just things to help, the quality of life really within the tool for people that are participating in raffles, which should be pretty dope. But definitely excited to check out and see how auctions end up going. And again, people have been asking for it. I know there's a bunch of projects that have been wanting to do like one-of-one raffles or honorary raffles for their collections that they've put out or are going to put out. So I think the auction platform can help better that, as it gives a bit more of like a certainty around like what you can expect to get for an auction, and then if you get more, you get more, which I think is pretty awesome. So I think if you haven't had a chance to check it out, go check it out. The one thing I will say is that it's changed the UI a little bit for Raffle, and working with folks within the Raffle DAO, as well as folks within our Discord, to kind of like let us know what seems to be off and glitches and things like that people can find. There have been a couple so far we have identified. The big ones for me is that when you go to someone's profile, it brings you to their purchases versus their created raffles. So that's going to be fixed tomorrow. And then the other one as well is there used to be like the first four digits of someone's address that shows up on their profile. You could click and go to a soul scan for it if you wanted to do a little bit due diligence. That got removed like by accident, so that's also going to be put back in tomorrow. So for folks that were looking for those, I would say just hang tight. We'll get those fixed. And then there are a couple of more items that I got from the Raffle DAO as well that from like a bug perspective that we can fix. It's easy things that for the most part people won't even know. It's like scrolling too much through whatever, it brings you to a different page or something along those lines. I haven't like tested all of them out, but I appreciate the folks in Raffle DAO for sending me over comments. And by all means too, if folks have suggestions to improve the UI on it, definitely let us know. That's one of the things we take pride in is the overall experience for what we've created. So we'll throw that out there. It looks like I did get DC'd again from Portal, so just gonna try to load back in via regular character and see if perhaps that will do a thing. But in the meantime, I think everyone is at least in here, which is good. So yeah, auctions, bonk. We did put out too just some general information. So for those of you that are newer to the community, I just wanted to kind of let folks know like where people normally hang out. So for Foxes you got Alpha, and for TFFs you got Federation. If you're only a TFF holder, and then we also have like a new Fox section and a Vax section just for more information on the project. But by all means, like our community is quite awesome. So questions, issues, things that you have, definitely let them know. I definitely like, at least giving out good information when I have the chance to. I was talking to somebody earlier about dens, as they got an interior room thinking that it was a full den win on a mission. So I had to kind of give a little bit of education around that. So go ahead and mute the portals. Let's see. Our raffle ended earlier yesterday. So for our holder only raffles, congratulations to everyone that had won. I'm trying to think of who was someone in the Discord, and I apologize. They had put together the full list of the updated prices for the NFTs in that collection of prizes, and I think it was just shy of 1,500 Sol. So by far, like our largest raffle that we've done. So that in combo with the Raffler DAO raffle was, I think, around 700 or so at the time, almost 800 actually. So that's pretty close to what, 2,300-ish Sol that we gave out in just raffle prizes between us and Raffle DAO. So congratulations to those that were able to win. And yeah, for our raffle that we host, it's always done in Foxy, so that way it's a Foxy burn for us. And the Raffler DAO raffle that we hosted was based off of getting tickets for your volume from either the buy or sell side. So those tickets were 100% free, and we're doing that again for Raffler DAO. I'll put it in here. I know we don't have all the pieces like for it yet, but my plan is to make it bi-weekly. So we'll do the first January Raffle DAO raffle next weekend, and it's going to be based off of ticket volume, but we're changing up the game a little bit. So it's going to be like one ticket per for sellers, and it's three tickets per for buyers, and we're only doing 100 Sol volume within that 2 week period. So it's between January 1st and I believe it's the 15th. Um, yeah, the 15th, and it's 23:59 UTC, so it's a little bit earlier in the day. Um, and so what we'll do is we just grab everyone that's done their volume in that period. If you've done 100 Sol worth of tickets, you get like one ticket per, or 100 Sol worth of raffles, you get one ticket per. If you're a seller, and three tickets per if you're a buyer. Basically lump all those people together in a pot, and I do a live drawing for it over in the Raffle DAO, so I'll do that again as well next weekend, or yeah, the weekend coming up. Um, but we'll announce like what the prize pool is and all that fun stuff. I mentioned an idea of prizes. I think based off the volume that we do, I'd like to do an SMB. I think would be cool. An ABC eventually. I think maybe we'll do like an SMB like the 1 week and an ABC the next week, just because their floor price is what 300 something and 200 for the ABC. Um, I'm trying to think of some of the other popular ones that were or taken off recently. Probably a Blocksmith Labs, get one of those out there. Um, Let me just see. I know I had a list that I had posted out. Um, Ovalos, I know those are quite popular right now. Maybe another Claynosaur. I know Dev has an interesting opinion on the way they look for their standstill. Dual bots I think would be cool. Maybe an OK Bear. Sharks from Sharky.
No, okay.
Soul Gods. What's that? No OK,
No, okay.
no OK Bears. um, Jelly Rascals I think would also be a good one. DJ and Fat Cats I think are quite popular as well. And I think those are like the main ones. I'm sure there's probably a couple more that I'm missing on that list. TFFs, of course, there's always Fox's TFFs. I think are quite good. And Lilies. Lily is the other one that I know is quite popular on raffles. So yeah, we'll figure out prizes. Those are just some ideas. Again, not all of them will be done in January, but what we're planning on doing, and so keep an eye out for that. Within this week, we'll post more information about it within the Raffle DAO. We'll probably put information about it in our Wednesday announcement as well for anyone that's interested. Let's see. Missions, for those of you that haven't launched missions yet, they are live. I'll just kind of give a quick run through. That way, if by chance you're like, oh, I forgot I have one of these foxes in Foxyland or something, you go pull it out and send it on missions. But we've got Solo for Scar level 38 plus, Solo for Astronaut level 40 plus, and we've got a duo for a school shirt level 34 plus and a school den. We've got Vampire or Fangs level 36 plus in a Vampire Den. We've got Pirate level 36 plus in a Pirate Den. We need two pirates for that, so that's a trio mission. I know somebody had commented on that. We try to make the UI like as user friendly as possible. So always like double check the top right hand corner if it seems like you should be able to launch the mission but you can't. Odds are you might need one more Fox to send it out. That seems to be like the most common um, oversight that people have when they launch their missions. And then the last one we have is a trio for nun heads, which ironically I don't think I have any nun heads. I always try to go for a head that has like something on it for missions.
Got four.
You got four.
One of
Um,
them's yours.
one of them's mine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess I do have a nun heads one. Um, but yeah, I mean that's one of the more common traits that we have. So we made a trio mission as well. And if you don't have the number of foxes for a mission, you can always go and rent them out in Foxyland. So just want to throw that out there as options for folks. And then I think the only other thing, I guess a couple of updates. Well, yeah, it's worth mentioning. So we did, for anyone that's been staked in our old staking contract. So our old staking contract, I believe, was like old when we did gamified staking for missions. So that was probably around like the February-ish, maybe March timeframe of last year. Um, if your fox has been like staked in that old contract prior to, definitely go check the staked page, and then before you take your foxes out, there should be a button on there for you to get your bonk allocation that was sent to like our staking escrow wallet. The one thing that I believe is true is if you had a fox staked in the old staking contract and the bonk was dropped, but you didn't claim it and you've unstaked and restaked, I don't believe you can get that bonk through the UI on there. I don't know how that works like on the back end, but just worth like mentioning to folks where if you kind of, I'll say we're just like messing around or what have you, there's a chance that like you won't be able to claim that bonk. So if you haven't done that and you're still in the old staking contract, definitely go in there and check it out. I think the button says like derug bonk or something like that, just because dev's hilarious. Um, but there were a lot of people asking for it. I know there were other communities that were in like similar boats. They had to do different things for it, and Dev had just thrown it in there for folks that weren't able to get it and are now able to get it. So it's definitely quite interesting to see how many people were still in the old staking contract that just like popped up out of the woodwork, like, hey, how do I go claim my bonk? So it definitely got a lot of attention, especially old attention, which is pretty interesting. And I believe that's everything I wanted to cover. Um, Yeah, I believe that's everything I wanted to cover. It's just for some like newer folks that are in the community. The one thing too that a lot of people have kind of asked about, and just based off of like interactions with some other people recently, um, unfreeze ray. So you can use the unfreeze ray on basically any fox. I would say that's not animated. I don't know how well it would work as an example on our friends and foes for like Odd Skulls Fox, because that already has an animation to it. But for others, like you certainly can, and so like there is one under the works from our Friends and Foes collection, which I think is pretty awesome, or will be under works for Friends and Foes collection, which will be pretty awesome. But that can count really for any fox that you want to do. In our normal collection of friends, famous foxes and transdimensional foxes, it doesn't change it into a one of one. It just changes the art like on chain for you to be able to have it in a different fashion that you've perhaps influenced, the way in which it's animated, which I think is pretty awesome. The same is said for the wormhole device. Wormhole device is like more so a redo of the art in a way that still kind of captures the essence of the pieces, but just redoes it in a fashion that looks one of one. I think the one of the more recent ones that I love is the Dark Knight or Dark King that Nyaman had created. So that's just to kind of show what that really looks like. I don't know how well a wormhole would work for friends and foes for what it's worth, just because those are already like one of one pieces that are created. But but yeah, within our famous fox collection, our transdimensional foxes, I think would be pretty awesome for folks that want to like kind of claim them. And I don't know I'd have to talk to Dev if like somebody wanted to use a wormhole or a unfreeze ray on a den. I have no idea what what that would even entail. So I would say don't challenge us with that yet. Um, but definitely worth throwing out there. And then for what it's worth too, I know we haven't posted like too much information about like the next friends and foes or whatnot that we'll have. We do have a few that are lined up that are pretty awesome. So definitely, if you are a friends and foes um, collector interested in winning one, I would say definitely start saving your Foxy. Um, I think this year will be pretty awesome when it comes down to friends and foes that we have added into the collection. So yeah, so I think that's basically it. I'll kind of open the floor. I know I've gone for give or take about a half hour, but kind of open the floor for questions if anybody has. And I see too someone had commented in chat. So yeah, if you do send a question, definitely ping me. That way I can find it. Am I still working on the welcome guide for foxes? Yeah, so I think there's like a little bit of a mix of things that will be kind of pushed out, if you will, Tina. The biggest thing that I'm trying to find more time for is creating small videos more so around like all of our tools and how to interact with things. It'll be a little bit tricky once we have like UI updates and things to it, but I think it'll be important for people to at least have an understanding for like our tools as they kind of stand at like a certain point in time. It's more so just like finding the time to allocate to it. But as I think like that'll be quite helpful for people, especially based off of like comments and questions that people have had. We were in talks as well with Questive for kind of creating like an onboarding experience through their app. I don't know, like they've had so many other things kind of pop up on their end of where they currently stand on getting like an onboarding guide, not guide, but like an onboarding experience together on their platform. But what I would say is that if there are ways that we could kind of improve, at least within Discord or maybe even in GitHub, or if there's something better that we can kind of push out that I think will help, by all means let us know. I know in raffle as an example, there is a pop-up that shows up for like a raffle guide I know is newer, just to kind of help people out. But I think there are like some technicalities for things like dens and missions and the eligibility, so like Foxy lending and all that fun stuff that I think can definitely be improved from an educational standpoint, so people will have a better idea of what they're getting involved with. I do see a lot of like questions and a lot of people helping out there for answering them. Hopefully that answers your question enough. And by all means too, if there's more to it, feel free to hit me more. Let's see here. Valkyrie. Roadmap for Foxes other than some tier upgrades for TFFs. Yeah, so like the one thing that not necessarily that was on our roadmap that we pushed out was our auctions. I think that was one. I think we figured it was going to take a bit longer to get out. So that was one piece. We have been kind of ideating on, and I know we've been getting some feedback, and there are people that are interested in providing more feedback for it, for doing kind of like an official lending platform, not just Foxy Lend for missions, but like a lending platform, I would say akin to a Sharky.fi, for, Foxes or our community, or really for Solana as a whole, but to have, like, just a better experience, if that makes sense. I think that's one of the bigger items for us as we kind of see our ecosystem really growing. And and yeah, and I would say too, some of like the more fun things that we want to get into. So we've never been about like creating an official game that like Foxes are a part of, right? We're not a gaming studio or anything like that. But I think the desire for some kind of a fun game, for us to kind of like hire out and get, Foxes into some kind of a fun game, I think is, yeah, like us license out or what have you, or us get a license from somebody for their game that we import foxes into. I think would be quite fun. I think, you know, looking at how the space is right now, we're really trying to see what's the next coming meta, or to kind of get ahead of it, in all honesty. So I would say some kind of, you know, fun game that people get involved with. I know there are others that are working on some things like that as well. And you know, really whatever we can try to help like enable people within the community to kind of build really within Foxes, I think is a big proponent. That's one thing that I want to get like more involved with, maybe run spaces and get people that are in Foxes that are building kind of a little bit of an audience. You know, I think that's the one thing that we can definitely do is leverage this as a platform so that way people can kind of build on top of it, which I think is pretty fun. I think that's really what a lot of NFT projects aspire to be. But I don't think that you know, for the most part, I mean, a lot of communities are that like ready for it, so to speak. So we've got some good stuff coming out for Foxes. So I'm pretty stoked. Play something on the big screen in Portals. Yeah, I should. Okay, I'm at least connected there. Let's see. How's this? Is that better? um, all right, now I'm on. Let's see. Now I said, mint something via Foxy Mint, and can we auction NFT? Any auctions? Yeah, that's a great question. Now, we don't have it set up to auto accept for auctions, but we can by all means like help people get their pieces onboarded into it. I should ask Dev of his opinion, and the only challenge is the only reason why we'd have to approve it, as I'm thinking about it out loud, is if people make the piece immutable. The big challenge is people trying to create like scam NFTs that might look like you know, a Degen Ape as an example, because that collection is immutable. So it would take a minute for people to figure out that it was you know, a fake listing. So as it stands right now, it'll probably be a manual process, but by all means, as long as it's immutable, more than happy to approve tokens for auction for folks, especially for artists. Um, and that's even been one thing, I'll throw that out there for a lot of people, because with raffle and bonk and all that craziness, like we did a raffle for a Rolex this past week. So shout out to Level Up Cucumber. Um, or just level up, whatever he prefers to go by. He reached out. He's like, "Hey, I want to do a raffle for a Rolex." We're like, "You're crazy," and he's like, "Nah, for real." He's like, "I'm a watch dealer," and he gave me more than enough information, you know, from a doxy side, and you know, basically, you know, we had like a level of you know, collateral for the specific raffle, is just in case, like if anything went wrong, like we still could at least pay back the people that had bought into the raffle. But that's a long way of me saying like the token he made was immutable, and we've done that for other people as well. If they have an honorary, or if they have you know, something that they had made that they want to raffle off, or they, you know, might want to auction off, as long as they make it immutable, like more than happy to onboard something, as long as it doesn't seem like it's, you know, a derivative of something that somebody might mistaken it for being part of the original collection. I know that's not the case for you. Your art is fantastic. But for anyone out there that's like, oh, I want to, you know, make something that looks like a DGOD and try to auction off for DGODs, odds are we're going to say no, but it has to be immutable. That way we know exactly what it looks like and what you're planning on doing it for a raffle or for an auction. So that's a good question. And Claw's asking a 3D fox skin in Fortnite. Don't they have what's the Kitsune, the fox-like outfit? I believe that was like the last season that I played for Fortnite, way back, that I had gotten that full outfit. It's not, obviously it doesn't look like a famous fox, but I think they have some kind of a, yeah, the Kitsune. See, I thought so. I'm a gaming nerd. Is there a question on the mic? No, maybe not. Okay. Let's see, someone pinged me in alpha. Yeah, I had to reload with Portal's characters because I was getting GG'd in here. Everyone everyone claiming their spots in alpha. Hilarious. Oh, and I might as well throw it in here too, because I know people were asking about it. So this Frank token, I don't know if people had seen on Twitter, but basically they sent us like to our actual project, whatever I guess our allotment was of token, and Devin sent it back and gave them instructions for how to use Foxy Share to share it with our community. So, so I thought that was hilarious. But wanted to throw that out there for anybody that was interested in whatever happened with that.
Hey, that's truly respectable behavior on Dev's behalf. So
Yeah. Well, the fun part about it too, right, is I think kind of more so at the end of the day, like Frank isn't going to be the last token, right, that gets airdropped out to people. So if nothing else, it brings a little bit of visibility around, hey, we've got tools to make your life easier. There was a tweet that someone had sent out, I think it was like middle of the week this week, but it was like a facetious thing, but they're like comments of like, hey, where can I do? And then it's like dot 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 question. They're like, foxes have that. And then it's like, well, what about if I wanted to? And they're like, famous foxes. But realistically, I mean, that's our goal, right? Our goal is to create tools for creators, enable anybody to be able to do what they want with no code solutions, within the Solana ecosystem. And it's worked out quite well. We've gotten a lot of attention, a lot of high profile folks using our tools, a lot of people in general, projects using our tools. Um, so that's really what we want to be known for in the space, right? We're like the trusted brand when it comes down to tooling within the NFT space. And then on top of it, obviously, an absolute fire community.
yeah, that was strong.
Yeah,
That
Dev's
was very
hilarious.
strong.
Yeah, yeah, Dev's hilarious. I got a question here from Biscuit. It says on the raffle site, we need the ability to make notes on a raffler, not just follow, but follow with notes. I think this guy's a great raffler or otherwise needed. Yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's a good idea. I'm not sure if there'll be an easy way of doing that with dialect. I've only like messed around with it a little bit, and I actually was able to get into their app after I met up with one guy from DAA this week. He got me the hookup for getting into dialect, but I should see if they have um, like notes on people. I don't, I don't think they do. But that could be an option as well. But I think you're right. I think if having a little notepad thing or something along those lines that people can just write notes down for themselves, right, not for somebody else to see, I think sounds like a good idea. So it's weird. So let's give you a comment on that. And you know what? I'm actually gonna jot that down here. I did that. Let's see here. And I guess because I do have a reminder actually on here. So for folks that are renting foxes via Foxy Lens when you're doing a mission, I know I talked a little bit about it earlier. You can't rent for raid missions. Um, you can't rent for solo missions, or you can't rent for fame only. So it'll only work for the duo and trio. And what I did see today earlier is that it will let you rent both foxes for the trio. So if you have a den, you can rent like two pirate foxes for that mission. So just want to throw that out there because some folks might not understand that entirely. They might think they can rent one pirate fox and then start that mission. So just make sure you check the requirements for it.
I have a question about that. What
Sure.
about in this scenario of the current mission with three no hats, or nothing head traits? If you had one, could you rent out two, or is it only for using a den?
You know what? Let me double check that. I I can double check that for you real quick. I want to say you should be able to rent it regardless, or you should be able to. Um,
But just being able to use them.
yeah,
It wouldn't have mattered this week. It was just like a question that I'm for future.
yeah, no, it's a good question. Let me just. Yeah, I believe in this case. Actually, hold on. Sorry, I'm just poking in to see if it will actually let you do it from our missions page. Um, yeah, so it looks like it will let me borrow 3 no hat foxes for
So
this.
you can
So,
borrow 3 of them and then fill out that mission?
correct.
Sheesh. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're welcome. Well, it's interesting. You know, we the main piece is that we let people see like all the missions that are out there and available. So in this case, since it's more than one fox, like it'll still let you automatically borrow even if you don't have one. That's just like as a default, as it's not a solo mission. But the one thing that I will say is like as a gamification route. Um, I think either the people that are in there know it because the pricing that I see for no hat boxes
Yeah, I'm looking
is
at it right now.
is definitely a premium, or um, people have caught on and have bought up all the boxes up to that point as well. So I think you play a little bit of a game because if you start renting on the no hats, you have to make sure you can can get 3 of them. So people might be able to
Yeah.
kind of mess around with that. I would, I mean, as long as the pricing's there, it's really up to you. But
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
yeah, no, that's a good question. I wasn't 100% sure, um, but that's good for me to also see in there. Because again, I didn't touch the hats off mission this week. Let me see. Any other comments in here? Yes. Oh yeah. Well, we'll do that, Marie. She's talking about a question that makes sure people stand on their own number. Um, that we'll do a giveaway for 4 chests. Do 4 chests today. So for the giant board we have in portals, um, right in front of the screen, there's like unique spots for people to stand. So we'll tell people to get on those spots when we're ready for it.
Yo, this is such a random question, and I should probably already know the answer to this.
Sure.
Um, so like the staking page for the foxes, like I've had my transdimensional stake since like last night at 11:42,
hmm
and it's saying I only earned 2 foxy. So there's like, it'll just populate the rest of it at like 11:42, or how does that work?
No, it should be populating as you go along. You can claim it at any time. So you might, by chance, have you claimed? Because
Oh,
if,
I claimed to get into poker. That's what it is. My bad,
yeah,
dude. I'm a dumbass.
no, it's all good. No, but that's a fair point. Yeah, it should accumulate. So anytime you get one, you should be able to claim it.
Okay, perfect. My bad.
Yep.
I forgot about poker.
No, but that's a good point, Dan. So one thing also worth mentioning for that, because depending on your strategy with foxes, you can also put a freshly staked fox into a mission. So you can just go in and it'll unstake the fox and let you restake it for
Alpha.
yeah for the mission, but you don't have to wait 3 days to unlock it. So a lot of new people might not know that. Um, so that's a good point to throw out there. And for what it's worth for people that are I'll say checking out like what their odds are on different things. It is significantly higher for you to get fame, even in a fame only mission without a fox, without a den for a TFF, than it is to get the Foxy token if you are planning to use that Foxy for fame. So for folks that are gaining fame, fame only missions will give you more than the amount you can buy with Foxy from staking. I think by a large margin now, because I think we had modified that. I want to say about a month or so ago, which will probably be due again for bumping that up so people can level up their foxes quicker as well with just fame only missions. So just throwing that out there for folks.